Time to blow it up to come back stronger next year. That's what it's time to do. It's not anything different. It's the same old story with them. We don't need to go over it a million times. I think most people agree. I started to see some of the beat guys indicate that in some of the things that they've written about the team recently. So
how do you expect a bump coming out of that, out of Four Nations, to where you lose one of your best players in McAvoy potentially for the year? Like, he's going to be out for the year probably. So how are you supposed to get a bump coming out of that everybody else got the rest? Was that it? Now you got Marchand talking about, ooh, I got to get back into Bruin-style hockey. Like, it F's you up. Like, it's almost like, don't do the home run contest in the All-Star game because it's going to mess your swing up. So he's got to get back to playing Bruins hockey as opposed to what they played in Canada. Like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, the Bruins have made it to the playoffs 8 straight years, right? You've got to expect a step back to take a step forward at some point. It just happens. It's natural. There were high hopes for this season, but they didn't pan out.
Well, 2 years ago it was special.
Not high hopes, but promising. There was some promise to this team after the offseason signing. Some promise. So here's what Don Sweeney had to say, having a little gathering here, a little press conference with the press following the break, and Sweeney on the approach at the deadline for this team.
Missing both of those defensemen, does that change your strategy or game plan, how you view the trade deadline?
Well, I think historically we've been pretty aggressive. When our team's been in a position, I think we'll take a much more cautious approach as we approach the deadline. That being said, if there are opportunities to improve our team now and certainly moving forward, whether that's positional shifts or other teams are trying to identify that we may have a strength at, we will look at all opportunities to improve our team now, but more importantly, even moving forward.
Meaning trading away players and trading in players potentially?
Yeah. I mean, it's just stuff that happens during this period of time, and it may plant a seed for the draft and beyond. But there'll be a lot of conversations with people asking, what possible moves we can make. We're just going to take a little more cautious approach in terms of as being aggressive as we have been in the past.
That's a nice way of him saying we are considering selling and not getting a return that will immediately pay off. As he put it himself.
I don't buy them as buyers and sellers.
No. But I think he was saying more selling than buying when he mentions the draft. That is the tip-off there. It's a more cautious approach, and, we'll always do things. He didn't say things that will help us right now. He said things that will help us. He didn't put a timeline on that. So I think it's his very kind,
selective,
gentle, cautious way of saying we are open to moving parts and making deals that do not immediately result in a positive for the 2025 season. That's what I think he's saying. I think there was a nice, delicate,
calm,
professional way of saying it. I think he did a nice job with that.
Yeah, he doesn't have that normal edge he usually has. It seems like it's almost like you're content and understanding what it is and what you are.
This is a big deadline for him. I know that a lot of people think like it's not a big deadline because he's not buying, but to me, he could prove that he's still really good at his job.
Yeah.
He's got an opportunity to prove that. I know a lot of people are calling for him. Listen to the chants in the crowd at the Garden during games. They're firing him in the crowd. So if he has a good deadline and acquires a bunch of really good pieces, again, for future assets, we're talking chips. We're not talking players that help the team now, but he could prove it. By the way, he talked specifically about Brad Marchand and the situation with the Bruins captain.
Brad has said that he'd like to be a Bruin for life. Do you want that?
That's always been my ultimate goal. We've been in negotiations with Brad and communicating with him throughout the year. We'll have to have a conversation now that Four Nations is over and sit down with Brad and his representatives and have a clearer path in the next 2 weeks as to what his final outcome will be.
Man, that is the closest thing to him saying, yeah, we want him, but we're willing to move him.
He just put a timeline on it. We got 2 weeks to talk.
If you're not considering trading Marchand, why would you need to sit down with the agent to talk about the next 2 weeks? The only reason you need that is because you're considering moving him.
Right.
Again, great answer by Sweeney. Sweeney dominated this thing. He had a great job.
He's ready to go.
He was ready.
He was ready to go. Good press conference.
Well, yeah, we want him to be a Bruin forever.
Yeah.
Something tells me that the disconnect there is going to be what he wants to be paid.
Well, Patriots always wanted to keep Brady forever. Like, ultimately, hey, we want Tom to retire Patriot. You know?
Well, yeah.
Which he did.
That
He kinda came back for that
Good
one
job,
day.
Robert. Yeah, you kept the right guy for sure. That panned out.
Did you see that video over the weekend, by the way?
Which video?
Oh,
At the
Was
game,
asleep
the
at the
basketball game?
that was tough.
Him and his friend, and he just walks out, and they're following him. Like two kids.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that she dresses like a 15-year-old.
My
Needless to
daughter-
say, and
my-
walks like one.
My
too,
daughter,
like-
my daughters, one is 19,
Like the
one is 25, and one is 19. They used to wear the jackets down over the halfway up. They stopped doing that like 5 years ago.
You're right, though. He's like halfway down the concourse by the time she
can't-
gets up the stairs.
He's got a limp to him. His leg fell asleep, and he loves that shiny jacket, man. It is on everywhere. The old man jeans with the
Okay,
with
you're
the
getting
jacket,
off
that's-
topic.
it's-
Yes, thank you. Do that at another point in the show,
Okay.
please. We can do it. Just not right now in the middle of our Sweeney cuts.
Well, it was tied into never mind.
Was it?
Well, the Brady thing, it took us down that. Like they wanted to keep him. Yeah.
You can't see how he connected those dots? Come on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know. I
Oh, come on. The booing? Like,
I
Bruins
just don't
fans.
know. It's 10:59. I got one
Bruins
more
fans.
cut I want to
Okay, let's
play,
go. Play it.
before the headlines, and it was Sweeney talking about the McAvoy situation that you referenced a couple minutes ago and how they feel about it because I think they're pissed.
Was the organization happy with the care that Charlie got after the injury in Montreal?
Again, the care that Charlie received here is what's most important from a standpoint of where his health is at now, and that's all that really matters. Dr. Ezra's team, as I stated, did a great job.
I feel like it was preventable.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to talk and get into any more details in terms of Charlie. I gave you the update in terms of how Charlie's doing, and that's what we're grateful for.
Oh, they're not happy. They are not happy. They're clearly pissed. Something clearly went wrong.
Would you be pissed? I would be livid.
Yeah, no, they should be. I don't think they're wrong.
They're invested in a player, and now the player's unavailable.
Well, especially when the possibility is that the injection of the original injury could have been the thing that caused the infection. It could have been fracture of the clavicle. It could have been the injection. We don't have those details. People have speculated on that. But there's been some indication that it was the injection itself that caused an infection. And if that's the case, I mean,
So the report was
they didn't sterilize the needle or
crazy.
or where you were putting the needle or like what happened there?
Maybe you wiped it
That,
with
that
a
feels
rag
like
or
it could have been a careless mistake of some sort.
multi-use needle. You don't know. Like,
Well, I don't think that would have been the case.
They went in there and cleaned it out, didn't they? Like they had to irrigate that sucker.
I don't know that. I'm not going to assume they did.
Smells. Ugh.
But there's most certainly a problem there that they feel could have been avoided, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whether it was he shouldn't have been cleared to play or an infection that came out of a procedure as opposed to an injury. I mean, it's
Or potentially both, by the way. Right?
or both. And they're
Yeah.
pissed. And they probably should be. And they hate that medical staff to begin with because of the Pat Maroon situation. So all of that's your Bruins update from the weekend. I thought Sweeney gave some real relevant answers as they approach the deadline. Tells me that they're looking to make deals, they're looking to sell, they're open to it, and they're open to moving their captain, whether the captain likes it or not. So it's not a ridiculous story to talk about it. The GM's answer just kind of confirmed it. He said that it's important that they figure out the direction in the next 2 weeks to determine the final outcome. Final outcome of what? Whether or not he's going to be here because you guys are open to moving him. As you should. That's the right move. I have high hopes for Sweeney. Hey, arrow up on Sweeney today, guys.
All right.
Hate to tell you, Bruins fans. I know that's going to piss you off.
And Breslow.
Arrow up on Breslow today. Arrow up on Sweeney today. It's a real positive Monday around here.